As we observe the 18-day campaign to end violence against women or VOW from November 25th to December 12th, we ask you, Lord, to look with kindness upon all of us who are gathered here. Fill our hearts and minds with love, wisdom, and courage as we face our daily lives. We pray for all women and girls who suffer from domestic violence, rape, incest, sexual harassment, trafficking, prostitution, and other forms of violence. May they have the courage to break their silence, find protection, healing, and justice. We pray for the perpetrators of VOW that they may learn to respect women and girls and stop the violence. O loving Father and Mother, send us your Spirit so that everything that we do will be done with love and respect for our fellow humans. Regardless of age, sex, class, ethnicity, and ability, O powerful God, develop in us a high regard for the thoughts, feelings, and experiences of everyone, and bestow on us the capacity to promote, protect, and fulfill the rights of women and girls. Almighty Creator, grant us the strength to stand up against all forms of violence happening to women and girls, the sharpness to recognize a silenced victim of VOW, the courage to speak up against VOW, the resourcefulness to help a victim of VOW, and the resolve to never commit any form of VOW. For all of this, we implore your guidance. Amen.
Good morning, mga kanayon. Good morning, Red.
Good morning, Cristel. We are here once again for a very special event as we join the national observance of the 18-day campaign to end violence against women.
That's right. A quick background on the campaign. Since 2002, the Philippine Commission on Women spearheads the 18-day campaign to end violence against women, to raise awareness and advocate for the elimination of such problem that is a grave violation to human rights.
In the National Health Demographic Survey of 2017 by the Philippine Statistics Authority, 1 in every 4 women aged 15 to 49 years old has experienced physical, emotional, or sexual violence from their partners. Meanwhile, since the COVID-19 pandemic, around 18,945 violence against women cases has been reported to the Philippine National Police Women and Children Protection Center.
As these numbers continue to rise, we as public servants are mandated to equip ourselves with the right training to improve the delivery of our services that aims to alleviate such problems to our stakeholders.
In addition, our platform, when used wisely, could be the voice for those who are left unheard. To formally open this gathering, let us hear from our very own Executive Director, Jyoti Duran Batocabe, for her opening remarks.
Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Today is a battle won for humanity as we mark November 25 as the International Day to eliminate violence against women. Out of the 48 Nayong Pilipino Foundation staff, 52% are women, so it is hard to ignore this day's relevance to NPF. I personally believe that for events like this, commemoration is not enough until it translates to actual measures that will prevent violence against women, men, and members of the LGBTQ community alike in the conduct of NPF programs and activities, as well as in our internal work culture and stakeholder relations. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Programs Unit for producing the Gender and Development audio drama that explores the daily experiences of women and the members of the LGBTQ community in public and workspaces. And also the Admin and Finance Unit for conducting a talk about RA 11313, or the Safe Spaces Act, and the Senate Bill 1934, also known as the Sexual Orientation Expressions Equality Act, otherwise known as the SOGIE bill. It is through information drives such as this that we normalize gender streaming so that each and every one of us becomes an advocate of gender equality and safe spaces in our homes, within NPF, and the society at large. After all, the NPF has always been advocating for equality and safe spaces through our core values of inclusiveness, collaboration, transparency, and community empowerment. So I urge everyone to be duty bearers. Let us end violence against women, men, girls, boys, and members of the LGBTQ community. Let's end violence against humanity now. We hope that we all enjoy and learn from the GAD podcast and talk that the programs and the admin and finance units have prepared for us today. So again, magandang araw sa ating lahat.
Thank you, ED for your continuous support to our gender and development initiatives. Now may we invite everyone to open their cameras for a quick photo op with ED po.
Yes.
Okay po. I only have one screen for right now, so everyone please smile. 1, 2, 3. One more po. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you po, ED Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, thank you.
Speaking of GAD initiatives, in 2019, the Republic Act 11313, or the Safe Spaces Act, was enacted into law, officially penalizing gender-based harassment in the streets and public spaces, including workplaces and educational institutions and the online space.
This year's campaign brings focus on the intensification of public awareness of the Safe Spaces Act as the country continues to fight against the propagation of gender-based violence, even more so during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Fortunately, our speaker for today will share to us the provisions, scope, and limitations of RA 11313, as well as the Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity and Expression, or SOGIE bill, as we aim to create a more safe and inclusive space for our stakeholders.
Our speaker today is someone we all know, someone that most of us have probably worked with on a daily basis. With her extensive experience in the legal field, she will shed light on the question, what is the Safe Spaces Act and what is the SOGIE bill? Without further ado, let's all welcome our very own Deputy Executive Director for Admin and Finance, Attorney Joyce Ann Kaigas.
Good morning, people. Good morning, NPF, and thank you for that introduction. Okay, so allow me to share my screen for us to proceed with our presentation for this morning. So, this morning I am tasked to discuss pertinent and important provisions, highlights of Republic Act number 113. So bawas law. Action. Okay. So RA 113 was passed into law. So under the administration of President Duterte last April 2019. Actually, we have plenty of laws in relation to harassment, no? Not hindi lang Safe Spaces Act yung meron tayo. We have also under Article 336 in relation to Article 339 of the Revised Penal Code, sanctioning, no, or penalizing acts of lasciviousness. We have also our Republic Act 7877 or the Anti-Sexual Harassment of 1995. So marami pang batas ang ang nagpe-penalize, no, sa mga ganitong klaseng gawain. Pero just to be more particular, no, the Congress wants to be more particular in so far as harassments, no, of women are concerned, no. So as I've mentioned, we have here also RA 7877 or the anti-sexual harassment. What is the intention? Ano ba yung intention ng ng Congress and the Senate? Why they enacted RA 113 if we already have RA 7877? The importance of enacting this kasi in RA 7877, pinipenalize lang yung mga ganitong klaseng actions if the perpetrator, no, or if kung sino yung may sala ay superior, okay, so employer, so ganon, dapat mapatunayan na the employer really acted, no, or took advantage of his position in so far as to proceed, no, with his sexual advances. Kailangan may mapatunayan yung superiority. But because of RA 11313, hindi na kinakailangan mapatunayan yun. Even your peers, no, even your co-workers could be guilty of RA 113. So, madami pang naging pagbabago at madaming nagkaroon ng improvements in so far as pagsasampa ng kaso, mas pinadali at mas pinalawak yung scope in RA 113. Okay. Also, in that same law, dinefine yung gender-based sexual harassment. Okay. GBSH is defined as acts which are committed through any unwanted and uninvited sexual actions or remarks against any person regardless of the motive for committing such action or remarks. Mind you that in acts of lasciviousness under Article 336 in relation to Article 339 of the Revised Penal Code, bago natin masampahan ng kaso, yung gumawa, no, the accused, okay, bago natin siya masampahan, kailangan mapatunayan natin na meron siyang lewd design, okay, LEWD, lewd design. So, kailangan mapatunayan natin na wala man siyang intensyong mang-rape, okay, wala man siyang intensyong mang-rape, pero meron siyang intensyong mambastos. There must be an ill intention, no? Hindi man for rape, pero may intention siya for lewd designs, no? However, no, by virtue of the enactment of RA 11313, sinabi dito, regardless of the motive, kahit anong intensyon, no, nung perpetrator or nung accused, pwede mo siyang makasuhan. Kaya nga sabi ko, in-improve ng batas, mas pinadali, no, kumbaga sa probable cause, medyo mas lumawak yung scope niya. Hindi na tinitinan kung ano ang intensyon, kung may malice pa or something. Regardless of the motive of the accused, you could be guilty of RA 113. Kaya nga dito, as we discuss, as we go along, simpleng pagsipol, no, you could be held liable at that. And medyo mabigat, no? Medyo mabigat yung penalties and imprisonments na binibigay ng RA 113. Okay, so let's proceed with the scope. No, as I've explained, mas malawak yung scope ng Safe Spaces Act. Pero let me proceed with the discussion on these three notes, on these three main kung matatawag natin para siyang categories no ng Safe Spaces Act. So number one, it covers the gender-based streets and public spaces sexual harassment. Also, in the same RA, diniscuss or nagkaroon ng enumeration, what are these public spaces? Also, we have here gender-based online sexual harassment, no? Since mas malawak ngayon yung platform of communication, binigyan din dito na kahit online yan, you could still be held liable. And as we go along then, i-discuss natin paano mo mapapatunayan. Kasi online, sobrang ang bilis mawala ng information, di ba? So how could we preserve the evidence just so we could file an action for RA 113? Medyo mabilis, medyo advanced. So may binigay ng mga safeguards National Bureau of Investigation on how could we preserve this evidence, pieces of evidence, so as to proceed with the filing of the criminal action. And the third one, gender-based sexual harassment in the workplaces. Okay. Etong gender-based sexual harassment in the workplaces, in RA 11313, RA 7877, na-discuss na din to, yung workplace. But as I've mentioned, in-improve, nilawakan yung scope pagdating sa workplace. So, i-discuss din natin as we go on. Pero, for purposes of enumeration, kung may exam man, exam. Pero for purposes of highlight what is the scope of Safe Spaces Act, it covers these three categories: streets and public spaces, online sexual harassment, and sexual harassment in the workplace. Okay. Let's proceed on the first. So, what do we mean by public spaces? What do we mean by public spaces? It refers to streets, alleys, roads, sidewalks, buildings, restaurants and cafe, public parks, schools and churches, private vehicles covered by ATP-based transport. Kasi kapag nagkaroon ng ganito, kapag yung gawain na ganyan ay nangyari sa mga jeep, naka-qualify, which I will discuss. Naka-qualify offense, mas mabigat, no, yung penalty and imprisonment na i-impose na batas. Also, public washrooms. Ayan, talamak sa mga washrooms, no? Nakakadiri. Pero anyway, government offices, ayan, malls and public markets, transportation terminals, common carrier. Actually, when I read this, so, siguro gano'n na talaga karampal. Yung talamak na talaga. Actually, I have during pandemic, no? During pandemic, mas tumaas yung crimes, no? Ang dami nagpa-file ng RA 7262, RA 9262, the anti-housing, mas tumaas yung crimes. I don't know, baka bored siguro sila, ewan, pero it somehow medyo nakakabahala yung pagtaas ng krimen pagdating sa mga women, and they are really prone and very prone to harassment and sexual abuse. So, and meron encompassing naman na provision all other areas regardless of ownership, openly accessible or offered to offered to be accessed by the public. So all areas, ayan, very very wide yung stipulation. It's all other areas regardless of ownership. That is public spaces. You could commit RA 11313 pag nandito ka sa public spaces, lalo na sa mga streets. Okay. Sabi dito, ano pa ang mga bawal na gawain under RA 113 on the gender-based streets and public sexual harassments? What are those? These are the punishable acts, commissions, no, ng mga perpetrators. Kapag kinamit mo to, naku, sorry na lang talaga. purposefully or unwanted remarks directed to a person, paninipol. Ayan. Okay, paninipol at yung mga slurs, yung para bang pagulong-bulong, uy pre, ang ganda na ba? Yung mga ganon. Kasi very, I don't know, siguro, na-experience, ay, hindi ko na alam, sana naman hindi nyo na-experience. Pero yung simpleng pabulong, simpleng pag-uusap, no, simpleng pag-uusap tungkol sa isang babae, you can be punished of that. So, slurs, pero that pag-uusap should be what? Indicative of feeling of hating a woman or the belief that the men or mas able, no, yung mga babae, yung mga lalaki kaysa sa mga babae, yung mga statements that are indicative of fear, hatred, or aversion towards the persons whose gender identity and so, okay, sexist, no, that are indicative of stereotyping, discrimination on the basis of sex, typically against women. Also, we have here remarks naman pag sa mga members of LGBTQ family, no? Indicative of fear, hatred towards a person who are perceived to be or actually identify himself or herself as lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer. I don't know what's queer. Pansexual, and other such persons of a diverse sexual orientation, okay, gender identity or expression, or towards any person perceived to or actually have experienced same-sex attraction. So even it even covers LGBTQ family na yung RA 113. It doesn't only pertain to women, it also somehow, no? Kasi as we go along, as we discuss SOGIE bill in encompassing, medyo mahirap tawag dito. Madaming pinaglalakan, mahaba na yung nilaban ng ating mga kapatid na LGBTQ family. Medyo mahaba na. Siguro this is somehow the tawag dito, somehow protection para lang kahit papaano mabigyan sila ng protection against any harmful and self-degrading remarks or anything that they could feel na na-isolate sila ng community. Okay. So also we have persistent or uninvited comments or person's appearance. Okay. Personal details. Sexual comments. May ipa-flash ako later ng mga pictures on examples kung ano ba yung mga klase, ano ba yung mga remarks at yung mga statements that could be a possible violation of RA 11313. Ayan, public masturbation or flushing of private parts. Actually, prior to this, walang masyadong walang definite na batas na nag-criminalize of such act. Pag kasi wala kang maisampang kaso, ang nagiging default is unjust vexation. No? Anything that annoys your senses could the criminal action that could be filed is unjust vexation. Which is, ang imprisonment lang yan, one day to 1 month, gano'n lang. Pero eto kasi siguro nagiging talamak na talaga yung paggawa ng ganito. Actually, sa Facebook, madami nare-report sa Tulfo, madami nabi-videohan doing such kind of things sa PU, sa jeep, and everything. So, maganda rin talaga no, na magkaroon ng batas. At thank God, nagkaroon tayo ng batas na talagang very particular sila with this kind of things. Next, any advances, whether verbal or physical, that is unwanted, no, and has threatened one's personal space. Okay. This may include cursing, leering, and intrusive gazing on taunting. Persistent telling of sexual jokes. Use of sexual names. Yan. Stalking or conduct directed the person involving the repeated visual or physical proximity, non-consensual communication, yung mga mga pahaging na bastos, parang gano'n, mga pahaging na statements na if you would just comprehend ano yung bigger context of this, of why do they comment on that kind of note, mararamdaman mo na parang nakakabastos. So, yun, kinover na siya ng RA 1131. Kasi nga sabi ko, prior to this law, ang meron tayo, RPC 7877 and this. At sa unjust vexation, sabi ko nga, sobrang mahirap din patunayan na yung mga ganitong bagay. Kaya siguro yun na rin yung naging drive ng Congress and the Senate. Why would they act? Why they enact this kind of law? Just to be particular with these criminal actions. Okay? And yun. So that covers the gender-based traits in public spaces sexual harassment. Anything, no, and any actions analogous to this enumeration could fall under RA 11313. Yan. So, yung mga ganitong klase, yung mga pahayag o komentong may sexual na pahiwatig or sexually suggestive, pabiro man o hindi. Kaya nga sabi ko, doon sa definition natin with GBSH, the gender-based sexual harassment, gender-based sexual harassment, it defines that regardless of your motive, of your intention, kahit ba pabiro yan, you could be held liable for your action. So yung ganito, tara, no, tayo ng game, daming ganon. Daming bakat doon. So it could, kasi sexually just suggestive siya eh. The tenor, the tone, lalo na yung kung may mga physical gestures pa. So you could still be held liable of RA 1131. Ano pa? Ayan. These pictures galing siya sa internet. Philippine, I forgot, pero ano lang, disclaimer. Yan. Nakuha ko siya doon sa website ng Philippine, siguro alam ni ano to kung ano. I forgot the committee, pero yun. So, yung mga ganitong klaseng statements. Okay, as you see, pangmamanyak, ayan, pangmamanyak sa pampublikong transportasyon, malalaswang titig, at salitang may sexual na kahulugan. Yung mga simpleng ganyan, ay, ingat po kayo. Kahit wala kayong intensyong mang-rape, wala kayong intensyong mambastos, nasabi nyo lang, no, you could still be held liable for RA 113. Tol, kanina ka pa nakatitig dyan sa boobs at legs ng mga babae. Okay. Nangyayari to, talamak to. Yung mga titigan ba ng mga lalaki, no, sa mga bus? Feel mo na, girls would feel that. Ayan. Okay. Next. Ito yung mga misogynistic na usapan. Ito yung tenor nun. Yung mga ganito. O order ka sa coffee shop, tapos siguro nagandahan sa'yo yung customer, tapos ganyan yung mga linyahan niya. No? Ay, okay. Mind you could be liable for RA 113. Next, yung mga, ito na yung sinasabi ko na nagkaroon ng kahit papaano protection doon sa ating mga kapatid. No? Paggamit ng mga transphobic at homophobic na salita, mapanglait na puna o komento sa itsura ng isang tao. Kaya wag mo sasabihin pangit yung kasamahan mo. Hindi pwede yun. Pag mo masyado kang okay, minsan yung bibig natin, medyo i-tone down natin. No? Hindi, not because of thinking na, ay, baka masukasuhan ako nito, but because of morality, di ba? Yung goodwill yun na huwag kang masyadong makomment. No? Eto, katulad nito, ang sexy, ang ganda, pero may balls pala. Mga ganong, any kind of statements na homophobic ba yung dating, you could be held liable for RA 113. Okay. Ano pa? Yan yung mga sexist na salita. siguro naririnig ko to sa maalaala mo. Kaya, ano pa ba yung mga investigador, yung mga ganito. Pero talamak to. Actually, hindi naman kasi magpapasa ang Kongreso at ng Senado ng ganitong klaseng batas kung hindi to talamak. Kaya nga sabi ko, ang aim nila is just to have a particular law that could really penalize this kind of action. Ayan. Pangmamanyak o panghihipo sa loob ng pampublikong sasakyan. Okay. Nakakabahala at mamalalaswang titig at galaw. Okay. Flashing o pagpapakita ng pribadong bahagi ng katawan. May mga pagkakataon na nagiging defense. So, the prosecution or the fiscal would actually, may mga ganitong klase talaga. Meron tinatawag na exhibitionist. The defense is, ang defense nila ay, may sakit po yung tao na yun. May sakit po, hindi talaga siya mapapahala. Hindi siya kaya napapawalang sala because of that defense. Na para bang, tawag doon, wala ka talagang intensyon kasi daw may sakit, merong mental disability or disorder, kaya nagagawa yun. May mga ganong defenses na lumalabas pagdating sa ganitong kasuhan. Kasi nga, more likely ang kinakaso dyan talaga unjust vexation. Yun yung nagiging defense. But because of this, kaya sobrang I gave emphasis on the word regardless of motive. Kasi that encompasses all kinds of intentional man yan o hindi. You could be held liable. Okay. So, question. Nung pinag-aaralan ko itong batas na to, pumasok sa utak ko, so, kung meron ng ganitong batas, what is now the difference between the acts of lasciviousness penalized under the revised penal code or the article 336 in relation to 339 versus dito sa RA 11313. As I've mentioned, ito yung yun nga, regardless of your motive, you could be held liable. But with the acts of lasciviousness, you must prove that the act was committed with malice, with intention of ma-establish of yung lewd design, yung pangbabastos, yung sabi nga yung biruan sa wala namang planong mag-penetrate. Yan. Wala namang planong mag-penetrate. It's just that gusto lang niyang mambastos. Do decides. So you need to prove that. And you need yung guilt, yung proof of evidence, you must prove it beyond reasonable doubt. But because of RA 113, regardless of the motive, so long as papatunayan mo na yung action na yon ay nagawa, pwede ka nang makulong. Ito kasi, hindi Medyo mas strict, mabigat yung proof of evidence na kailangan mo, unlike sa RA 113. It's just that RA 113 is a special penal law. Okay? Kasi po sa batas, we have this RPC, the Revised Penal Code, and we have the special penal laws. Okay? The rule is, kapag ang special penal laws, or like RA 113, hindi na ina-apply yung penalties imposed under Revised Penal Code, you could be held liable for both. You could be held liable for both. So long na may mong ginawa. No? Kaya nga sabi ko, since it's special penal law at hindi niya ina-apply yung graduated penalties and imprisonment under Revised Penal Code, you could be held liable. In my opinion, since ito po ay bagong batas pa din, no? It was just enacted 2019. So wala pang Supreme Court decisions on can we file an action separately or simultaneously, RPC, Acts of Lasciviousness, and RA 113. Could we do that? Wala pa po talagang Supreme Court decisions, no, of saying that could be done. But in my humble opinion po, that could be done. Kasi nga, iba yung penalty imposed sa RPC, iba yung yung penalty imposed dito sa RA 113. And second thing, ang kinaibahan po kasi kapag sa special penal laws, hindi na po pinapatunayan dito um, yung intention, yung malice, hindi na po pinatutunayan. Sabi ko nga, mapatunayan mo lang na ginawa mo, okay ka na. You could be held liable. But for this, hindi talaga eh. Medyo mas rigid yung requirements or your requirements of for you to establish probable cause so as to proceed with the filing of case. So, what to file? Depende. Depende sa circumstances. Pero, kung ma-prove mo itong dalawa, no, and for my humble opinion, you could do that. You could file for RA 113, you could file under RTC. May mga tanong. Paano po yun, ma'am? Gagastos pa po ba kami pag ganyan? Kasi, syempre, more likely nangyayari to sa mga streets, sa mga highway. Paano po yung magiging kaso? Pag po kasi mga criminal actions, lahat po yan ang nag-handle po ng fiscal. Wala po kayong babayaran. Just punta lang po kayo doon, gumawa po kayo ng complaint affidavit, and then ira-raffle po yun sa Office of the Prosecutor, and the fiscal would handle your cases. So, wala pong gastos. Okay. Yun. Pero pag mga civil actions po, yun, medyo kailangan natin ng PAW or if you could hire a particular. But with criminal actions, fiscal will handle that. Except kung mag-hire kayo ng private prosecutor. Pero still under the super strict supervision of the public prosecutor. Okay, so we're done with sexual harassment as gender-based streets and public spaces as sexual harassment. So we now proceed with gender-based sexual harassment in workplaces. Okay, as I've mentioned, ito pong gender-based, itong harassment in workplaces ay nakalagay na sa batas under RA 7877. Meron na po doon. Meron ng mga circumstances that would fall under gender-based sexual harassment in workplaces. But, ang kinaibahan po nung RA 11313 sa RA 7877 ay, number one, nakikita nyo pa rin po yung screen ko? Ayan.
Yes.
So, okay. Pero yung presentation kita, tama ba? Or
Yes, it's not in full screen po, pero kita po namin yung PowerPoint.
okay. Ay, hindi pala magagawa. Kasi I have notes different. Pero sige. In RA 11313 kasi, sige, doon muna tayo sa 7883, yung lumang batas. Okay. Dito, pwede tayo magsampa ng kaso, pero dapat yung sexual advances mo would relate to hiring, yung kumbaga nagiging condition yon, yung mga sexual favors sa pag-hire, sa employment, re-employment, continued employment, okay, favorable compensation, conditions, promotion. So kumbaga in relation to your work, kailangan mapatunayan mo yon na ginawa yun ng boss mo in condition for this. Hiring, ganyan. Pero, under RA 113, you need not to prove that. Ang sabi ng RA 113, any conduct of sexual nature and other conduct based on sex affecting the dignity of a person which is unwelcome, unreasonable, and offensive to the recipient. Ulitin ko, any sexual conduct that is unwelcome, unreasonable, and offensive. Okay? So, lahat ng feeling ng recipient o yung empleyado, o kung yung boss mo man yun, na feeling niya na basto siya, you could be held liable. Sabi ko nga, mas naging in particular talaga yung RA 113. Medyo mas naging malawak yung scope niya pag dito. Kasi sabi lang, any unwelcome ang lahat ng unreasonable. Napaka-subjective nun. It varies. Hindi mo alam kung yung unwelcome ba sa kanya ay unwelcome sa ibang tao. Pero, ang punto ng batas, kung sino yung aggrieved party at kung sa kanya ay unreasonable yun at offensive on her senses, no, you could be held liable for RA 113. Also, sinama na din dito, naging explicit na rin sa RA 11313 yung text messages, mails, no, electronic mails. Yan, medyo particular na talaga. Pati text messages, kapag hinaharot ka through text messages, kung ano-ano sinasabi sa'yo, you could be held liable. Kaya ingat po tayo, wala man po kayong intensyon. Wala man po kayong intensyon talaga, pero kung mapatunayan na na-offend mo yung coworker mo or ibang tao, you could be held liable for RA 113. So, ingat po. Ingat. Also, another improvement, no, an introduction of RA 113, of RA 113 is sa 7877 po kasi, ang pinaparusahan lang dun yung mga employers, superior. So sila yung mga perpetrators doon. Sila yung mga sorry for the word, pero sila yung mga nangmamanyak. Yun yung mga boss mo, mga boss, yung any person that is of higher rank doon sa aggrieved employee, sila lang po yung pwedeng kasuhan. Pero po sa RA 113, kahit co-workers nyo, peers, okay, you could be held liable. Hindi po kinakailangan boss mo lang. Kapag po ikaw talaga ay kasamahan mo sa trabaho of any rank, kaibigan mo sa trabaho of any rank, kahit nga mas, minsan nga, sabi sa batas, kahit yung trainer-trainee, yung trainee yung ng bastos sa trainer, it could be held liable under RA 113. Different po siya doon sa 7877. Pero, it does not naman, hindi naman sinasabi ng batas na wala na yung 7877. It is just a supplemental law insofar as RA 7877. Nilawakan lang talaga. No? Hindi niya pinawalang bisa yung RA 7877. It just supplements the RA 7877. So, acts of serious sexual nature, ayan, verbally, physically, or through the use of such text messaging, electronic mail, or something. Okay, ito na, unwelcome, unreasonable, and offensive. Okay. Also, workplaces include all sites, locations, spaces where work is being undertaken by an employee within or outside the premises of the usual place of business of the employer. So it's within or outside. Kahit nga wala nang work eh. No? Kahit outside of office hours, it could still be held liable. So long as mapatunayan na nandun kayo sa isang kumpanya, it could be held liable. Okay. We're done with gender-based sexual harassment in workplaces. We now proceed with gender-based online sexual harassment. Ayan, so online na tayo. Okay. In gender-based online sexual harassment, it refers to an online conduct targeted at a particular person that causes or likely to cause another mental, emotional, or psychological distress and fear of personal safety, sexual harassment acts, including unwanted sexual remarks and comments, threats, uploading or sharing of one's photos without consent, video and audio recording, cyber stalking, and online identity theft. Yan. Uso sa Facebook yun eh, yung kukuha ng mga pictures mo, tapos kunwari, ikaw yun, pinarurusahan na rin po siya under RA 113, online identity theft. Very, very particular. With all the laws na nabasa ko, very particular yung RA 113. Very timely sa kung ano talaga yung laganap sa atin ngayon. cyberstalking. Pero ipapaliwanag ko as to what extent yung stalking. Kasi we stalk people. Sino ba yung bago na yan? Cyberstalking na ba yun? Let's see. Mapag-aaralan natin yan. Okay, so it's without the consent, video and audio recordings. Marites, yan. Let it be known. Ano ang mga pinagbabawal under gender-based online sexual harassment? At ito po yun. We have here enumerations of what are those acts punishable under RA 113. Una po, threats. Yan, pagbabanta. Physical, psychological, and emotional, unwanted sexual, misogynistic. So, parang kanina, pero it is done through online. Okay? Cyber stalking and incessant. Ito ba yung hindi kami lulubayan? Yan, yung mga messaging na yan. Pero as I've mentioned, ano ba yung extent ng cyber stalking? Kapag ba tinignan mo yung profile or yung Facebook profile ng kasamahan mo, kasi bago. So gusto mo lang siya makita, ano kaya yung hobbies niya. So bago di ba sabi ko, regardless of mo, be considered as a cyber stalking. Tingin nyo po. Kasi stalking yun. You stalk on online. Profile niya. Facebook, Instagram. Depende kung naka-private siya. Would it be considered as cyber stalking? No, it would not be considered as cyber stalking. Okay, yung mga Facebook profiles nyo po na naka-public. Pag binuksan, hinanap niyo yung pangalan ko sa Facebook, tapos nakita yon, hindi po siya cyber stalking. What do you mean by cyber stalking? Ito po yung gumagamit ka na ng iba pang ways on how you could go into deeper yung mga personal details ng tao. Yung hindi sumasapat sa iyo yung Facebook profile niya. Yung parang you would go deeper, gagamit ka na ng ibang platform, ibang technology, just to penetrate, ano pa ba yung meron sa kanya? That's cyber stalking, no? Going deeper doon sa details na sa surface lang makikita. Okay. Some people would hack one's Facebook para makita niyo yung mga pictures, yung mga sinasend sa messengers and all that. Lahat na hindi siya accessible sa public and you go deeper into that, it is cyber stalking. No? Kaya sabi ko nga po, hindi yung simpleng stalk yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. Kasi kung simpleng stalking lang, ako po ay pwede na rin makulong. Kasi tumitingin din po ako ng Facebook. Pero that doesn't, hindi yun yung konteksto ng batas. Ang konteksto ng batas, if you go deeper doon sa mga public, sa mga information that can be publicly accessed. No? Kasi yun yung dinidisclose. Diba po, meron namang filter yung Facebook, ano yung gusto mong masabi, ano gusto mong makita nila, that could be filtered out. Pero kung ikaw, you go deeper into that, that's a cyber stalking na. Ang mahirap lang po kasi with this, even the NBI, kailangan kasi nilang ma-prove yung identity mo. And when proving that, pagdating sa online, medyo malaki yung scope, medyo mahirap. Kaya sabi nga, meron kasing when you access some websites, when you access lahat po kahit on your own personal computer, NBI could actually puntahan yan. Kahit na-delete mo na siya million years ago, meron po tayong mga tinatawag na footprints. No? May mga footprints na nade-detect na doon po kumukuha yung mga cyber libel, yun yung tinitingnan ng mga NBI. The footprints na tinitingnan, yung websites yung website na sinearch mo, makikita yon. Even they work, tawag dito, hindi man nila hawak yung laptop mo, pero you're connected with your internet, they could do that. At meron pa pong mga pagkakataon na yung ating mga itong mga cameras natin sa ating laptops, I suggest, okay, if you have covers, kung pwede nyo pong i-cover yan, kunwari hindi nyo naman ginagamit, hindi nyo naman ginagamit pero you're working on your laptop, cover your your cameras kasi lahat pwede po yan ma-access actually. In just a snap, kung talagang magaling, they could access that. Kaya sabi ko nga, lagyan nyo ng sticker para hindi kasi yung iba talaga, meron po ako na-attend na symposium dito po sa, in one symposium that I attended, sabi nung speaker, okay, buksan niyo yung laptop nyo, open your cameras. Pero do not open, hindi mo i-activate. Huwag mong i-activate yung camera. Hindi nyo, basta naka-open lang. Okay, do your Facebooks and things. Do work, pero huwag nyo i-open. Pero meron siyang ginamit na, sabi niya, okay, if you hear the word, I forgot. Pero basta may isang click, narinig namin niya, isang ganun, all our cameras turned on. As in, nag-turn on yung cameras namin lahat at nakita namin yung sarili. And meron siyang nakakonect siguro, nakakonect yung computer niya sa isang malaking, tawag dito, isang malaking ganon. Makikita ko yung mukha ko doon. Even kahit yung hindi ko binuksan yung camera ko, nagwo-work lang ako, Microsoft Word lang yata yung ginagamit ko noon. Nakita yung mukha ko doon sa computer niya. So parang, this is him proving na ang daling ma-access ng computers ninyo. So in cyber stalking, ganun yung nangyayari. They go deeper, pati lahat ng information mo, lahat ng footprints, lahat ng websites, lahat ng mga Instagram, Twitter, and everything, na-access niya, and that's cyber stalking. Medyo mahirap siyang patunayan ngayon on our end, pero marami naman ang ginagawang improvements sa NBI on how they could calibrate yung kanilang system in penalizing or yung pag-iimbestiga nila pagdating dito. Kaya nga po sabi ko sa inyo, sobrang lawak ng cyber world. Kaya just for friendly precautions if you're using your laptop, close nyo po yung webcams. Kasi that could be easily penetrate ng mga masasama talaga yung utak. Okay? Next, uploading and sharing without the consent of the victim any form of media that contain photos, voice, or video with sexual content. Ayan. Maririnig yan sa tool po. Sabi, sige, kung hindi mo gagawin yan, lalabas ko yung ganyan. May mga ganong bata. So dito, although before naman po, pwede mo na siyang sampahan. It's just that, sabi ko nga, very particular lang yung RA 113 with this kind of actions. So we thank our legislators who legislated this kind of RA kasi it's very explicit, it's very particular in nature. Okay. Any unauthorized recording and sharing of any of the victim photos, videos, information. Lahat ng mga IT experts, they could hack your computers. Even they work miles away from your laptop. They could do that. Kaya sabi nga, mas maganda pa yung mga typewriter na lang before. No? Medyo mas guarded yung mga personal spaces natin. But because of this technology, ay, nako. Anyways, impersonating identities of victims online or posting lies about victim harm to harm their reputation. We have also cyber libel. Diba po? Narinig nyo na yung cyber libel. Kinaibahan lang, sabi ko nga, dito, kahit wala kang intention, could be held liable. Any, regardless of motive, could be held liable for this. Filing false abuse reports to online platforms to silence the victims. Ayan, yung mga ginagawang harassments, yung ginagawang pang-blackmail, so they could advance their sexual advances to these victims. That could be held liable. That could be penalized under RA. Yan. Some examples of what gender-based online sexual harassment means is this. Yan. Sarap mo be. Iyan kita. Cyber stalking at paulit-ulit ng pagpapadala ng bastos na mensahe online, pagpapakalat sa internet ng malalaswang larawan, video, o iba pang paninira na walang katotohanan. Okay, ano pa? Ito pa yung next picture. Hello, kita ko pictures mo, sexy mo. Send nudes ka naman. Yan, paulit-ulit. At dapat incessant, paulit-ulit talaga yung pagsasend sa loob. Or even cyber stalking could be held liable. Okay, so we're done with these three categories, three main categories under RA 113. Okay. However, in this kind, nung na-discuss natin mga acts and omissions and criminal actions, naka-qualify siya. When I say qualify, mas tumataas yung penalty imposed. Instead of 6 months, you could be imprisoned for 2 years. Okay, tumataas yung penalty and imprisonment provided ito yung mga circumstances naka-qualify. Okay? If the act takes place in common carrier or PUVs, including but not limited to jeepneys, taxis, tricycles, yan, up-base, siguro ito yung mga Grab, ano pa ba? Grab ba yun? Yung, basta yung mga ganon. Angkas, yan. Where the perpetrator is the driver of that vehicle and the offended party is a passenger. Ayan. Second, minor, senior citizen, PWD, o yung mga nagpa-breastfeed ng mga nanay ang ginawan mo yan. Ayan, maka-qualify offense. Also, offended party is diagnosed with a mental problem. Fourth, okay, kapag ang perpetrator ay police, sundalo, at ginawa yung act na yon while they are in uniform. PNP, AFP, at ginawa yung actions. I give emphasis on and. Kailangan dalawa. Police siya at ginawa na yon while in uniform. Also, if the act takes place in the premises of a government agency offering frontline services to the public and the perpetrator is a government employee. So, these circumstances would actually qualify your offense. It could elevate, sabi mo dito, the penalty next higher in degree will be applied. Ingat po tayo dito. Okay. What are the penalties? Dito po kakaiba. No? We have first offense, second offense. Ayan. May chance. More chances of winning. First, second, and third. Catcalling, wolf whistling, ayan, yung mga slurs, yung mga sexual jokes, statements, at as I've discussed po kanina. Ano yung mga penalties and imprisonment? Okay. First offense, 1,000 and 12 hours community service. Ito po, pupunta kayo sa munisipyo, pagwawalisin po kayo, paglilinisin po kayo ng kanal. Kung gusto nyo po yun, gawin po natin. Pero kung sana naman, hindi, no? Pero ito po yung first offense. May fine of 1,000 at community service inclusive of, yan, mag-a-attend ka ng gender sensitivity seminar conducted by PNP. Oh, hindi ka dadala sa first offense, sabi mo, okay lang pala, community service lang pala. Bumagdag ng second. Ano po yung pwede? Ito, kulong na tayo dito. Arresto minor, 6 to 10 days, at may fine na 3,000 pesos. Okay? Ito, hindi ka talaga nadala. Kasi 10 araw lang, gusto mo siguro mag-stay in sa kulungan. Tumord offense ka. Ayan. Arresto minor, 11 to 30 days, at fine na 10,000 pesos. Imagine niyo po, simpleng pagsisipo lang. Yung binigay ng batas na to, pwede kang makulong at magpa-fine ka sa hindi bababa na 10,000 kapag pumangatlong offense ka. Okay. Pero, ito po dagdag na lang. Yung mga ganito pong klase, kunwari, hindi naman tataas ng 6 years yung imprisonment. You could apply for, pag lang naman, sakali lang. Second offense sa third offense kasi may kulong. Ayaw mo makulong. Meron po tayo yung tinatawag na probationary. Yan, kung probation ka, punta ka sa, mag-rule yung judge kung qualified ka ba may probation. So, pag probation, community service ka na lang, hindi ka na ikukulong. Pero, yung probation po, kailangan hindi ka habitual delinquent or habitual na kriminal. Kung paulit-ulit, baka hindi ka na rin ma-apply for probation. Pero just the same, that's the remedy of a lawyer if his client was sentenced to an imprisonment not exceeding 6 years. So, probation po tayo. Next, ayan. Public masturbation, flashing of private parts, groping, similar lewd actions. What are the penalties and imprisonment? 10,000 plus first offense, 10,000 plus 12 hours, inclusive of attendance. Okay. Second offense, 11 to 30 days, arresto manor. So, 1 month. Plus, mas mataas na yung fine mo, 15,000 pesos. Hindi ka nadala, pumangatlo ka pa, 1 month to 6 months, fine ka ng 20,000. Fine ka. Pero kung wala kang pambayad, meron po tayong tinatawag na subsidiary penalty. Hindi ka magbabayad, pero it will be the 20,000 will be computed. May extend yung pag-stay mo po sa kulungan. So that's subsidiary. Yung mga walang pambayad. Sige, kulong mo na lang yan. Libre naman yung pagkain doon. Baka nga ganun, hindi sila makapagbayad ng 20,000. Dagdag na lang doon sa imprisonment nila. Okay, public masturbation. Ayan. Okay, last. Okay, and third to the last. Stalking, cyber stalking dito tinatawag po touching, ayan, pinching or brushing against the, ayan, paghahawak ng mukha, ng arms, ng anus, ng groin, breast, inner thighs, face, buttocks, or any part of the victim's body. Yan. Pwede ka po maging liable. And what are the penalties and imprisonment that could be imposed against you? First offense mo, arresto manor, 11 to 30 days. At fine naman. Ito, pataas tayo ng pataas, 20,000. Second offense, arresto mayor or a fine of 50,000. Ayan, mas mataas kasi medyo mas mag-ano yung ginawa mo. Third offense, arresto mayor in its maximum period. When I say maximum, 6 months na agad. Yung arresto mayor, ang minimum po kasi niya 1 month. Pinakamababa, 1 month. Kaya po, 1 month and 1 day to 6 months. So, ang maximum niyan, 6 months. Pero, kapag second offense ka lang, titinan pa ng korte. Ano yung, more likely, lagi sa medium, lagi. More likely, mga 2 to 3 months. Pero, kapag third offense ka na, 6 months ka kagad. Maximum period yon. At fine na 100,000 pesos. Okay, so, mahirap po makulong. Wag po natin gagawin. Lastly, okay, ito na yung mga penalties for gender-based online sexual harassment. Sexist remarks in public posts or private messages, cyberstalking, uploading, ayan, yung mga sinabi ko po kanina, the penalty, mas mataas. Prison correctional in its medium period at 100,000 but not more than 500,000 pesos yung magiging fine. Okay. So, mas mataas po. Why? Kasi yung lawak ng masisirang yung damage, no? Yung damage na masisira. When you post something online, lahat ng marites, makikita na yan. Ganun, yun yung naging basis kung bakit mas mabigat kapag online yung ginawa. Kasi mas mabilis na a-access yung information, mas madaming nakakakita. At kung mas madaming nakakakita, mas malaki yung damage, yung physical and emotion disturbance ng victim, mas malawak, mas malaki. So, mas mabigat naman yung penalty po. May kulong po ito. Prison correctional. Okay. So, we've discussed all these things. Umagang-umaga. Ito dinidiscuss natin, pero wala tayong gagawa. Ngayon naman po, in order to avoid this kind of instances sa ating as NPF, what are the duties of the NPF management in order to avoid this kind of things? Okay. Number 1, disseminate or post in a conspicuous place a copy of the law to all persons in the workplace. Okay. Provide measures to prevent GBSH, gender-based sexual harassment. Okay. Magkaroon ng policy paano maiiwasan yung GBSH sa atin within our team. First, create ng SOGIE. Committee on Decorum and Investigation. Kapag po kasi merong nagkaroon ng ganyan, if magkakaroon ng complaint within our level, kapag hindi, na-elevate na yan. Pero kung gusto, diretso police or ayun yung mga women's desk, meron po yun sa lahat ng mga police stations. Lahat ng mga sexual harassments or anything, rapes, and so, punta po kayo sa women's desk ng mga police stations kung saan nangyari yung krimen. So, punta po kayo and then yung police na po ang kukuha ng statements, gagawa ng affidavit, dadalhin kay fiscal, and so forth. Develop and disseminate in consultation with all persons in the workplace a code of conduct or workplace policy, which shall, number 1, expressly reiterate the prohibition on gender-based sexual harassment. Okay, describe the procedures of internal mechanism and set administrative penalties. Okay, ano yung kinabigat ng ating duties ng mga sa management level? Ano yung kinabigat nito sa atin? Kasi once we do not have the policy in place in our team sa NPF, you could be an administrative case could be filed against you. Okay, doon sa mga public officials, non-appointive, non-elective, yung mga talagang na yun yung mga hindi elective, yung mga officers na hindi elective and appointive. Kapag hindi po natin natupad to, an employee could actually file a case against us within the Civil Service Commission, CSC. Pero kapag naman ikaw ay sa AFP, sa PNP, at yung boss mo, and your boss are elective and appointive officials and who did not act on the duties of an employer, to its due to its employees, an administrative complaint could be filed before the Office of the President and the Ombudsman. So they could file. So this is a gentle reminder to each and everyone to have a policy in place for this. So as to protect our employees, that's the main purpose, and so as to avoid any exposure to OP or to Ombudsman. So, yan. So, yun po ang discussion natin with RT 113. Okay. With the SOGIE bill, I'm sorry if I wasn't able to prepare a presentation with the SOGIE bill. Kasi sabi nga, SOGIE bill have been the most, ito yung batas, longest na dinidebate sa Kongreso at sa Senate. So up until now, it's still a bill. What is the purpose of the SOGIE? Is to elevate the status of the LGBTQ. When I say status, para mabigyan sila ng protection pagdating dito. Kasi hindi naman po sa talagang pag pinag-usapan, bayad lalaki lang ang pinag-uusapan. Mabuti na nga lang, nandito sa RA 113, binigyan sila ng counting protection. Pero sabi nga, it should not stop there. There must be an active participation, an active action for legislators to legislate this kind of laws in favor of them. Kasi sabi ko nga, LGBTQ, it's not a disease, it's not a mental disorder, meron talaga taong gano'n at dapat intindihin natin yon. Kaya sabi ko, bigyan natin ng proteksyon. Hindi ko sinasabing babae, lalaki. Ang gusto ko lang, or the opinion of most of the legislators, just to give adequate protection to the members of the LGBTQ. Okay, so that ends my report and presentation. Thank you everyone, and I hope na may naitulong man ako kahit konti. Thank you and have a good day to each and every one of us. Thank you.
All right. So let's moving forward. Thank you again, Attorney Joyce, for sharing your insights with us for this morning session. We would like to present a certificate of appreciation for today's session.
Okay po, let me read the citation. The Certificate of Appreciation is hereby awarded to Attorney Joyce Ann Caigas for sharing her knowledge and expertise on the Republic Act No. 11313 or the Safe Spaces Act and the SOGIE Bill during the GAD Creative Podcast online launching held on November 25, 2021, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. given this 25th of November 2021, signed si ED Jerty Duran Batocabe. So can we take a picture with Attorney Joyce po? Okay. Smile, 1, 2, 3. There you have it. Thank you, Attorney Joyce, for...
Congrats, attorney. Very informative.
Welcome po, Didi.
Now we move on to the next part of our program. As you all know, the NPF GAD Technical Working Group partnered with the Programs Unit to deliver a very special message for this year's campaign.
Yes, Crystal, actually back in August when this project started, some of our staff have come together to produce this creative output to become a voice to victims of harassment. To formally introduce the latest episode of NPF's Dunong podcast, let us call on the Deputy Executive Director for Operations and Gender and Development Technical Working Group Chair, Dr. Laya Boqueran Gonzalez.
Thank you for that generous introduction, Red and Cristel. Good day to all Kanayon. Good day, ED Jerty and DED Joyce. Our gratitude to Attorney Joyce for an informative and engaging lecture. I couldn't have been prouder of the fact that the Nayong Pilipino Foundation, as an institution, is already practicing gender inclusivity, not just in the programs and projects, but in the leadership itself. So incidentally, women are at the forefront of the institution. So from the executive director, deputy director for admin and finance, planning, accounting, general administrative services, all of these units, by the way, are led by women. And they are key in the institutional agility that we're experiencing now, the flourishing work culture, and good governance being initiated and implemented by the foundation over the recent months. The creation of a gender and development technical working group, the recalibration of our programs towards greater gender participation is just among the reasons why we can say that slowly but surely, the Nayong Pilipino Foundation is going through a beautiful metamorphosis as we head towards our golden year this coming 2022. So I enjoin you to listen to our audio drama titled Creating Safe and Inclusive Spaces. This is a special episode of our Dunong. So as you know, Dunong is formatted really as a series of talks and lighthearted conversations about the research initiatives and the interests and program activities of Nayong Pilipino Foundation. So for this episode that we're going to have, it's actually a special episode. It's the first time that we're reformatting it or tweaking the format a bit into an audio drama. And here in this audio drama, we are proud to present this not just to the public, but even to our employees, not to be enjoyed by our employees. So it's an audio drama that explores the thoughts and daily experiences of women and across genders actually, and members of the LGBTQ community, especially in public and workspaces. So this episode discusses several key points from RA 11313, the Safe Spaces Act, as well as the Senate Bill 1934, Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity Expression Equality Bill. So I would like to acknowledge the several people who made this possible. So I acknowledge and thank the creator of the script. We have Project Officer, Ms. Jessica Joy Uyan, whom we all call Jay endearingly. Dunong, as you know, is a project under the Heritage Space Program, and it's actually, fun fact, conceptualized and coordinated by Ralph Joseph Fabros or Red Fabros. We have the support of our multimedia artist, Miguel Angelo Medina, and of course, our PRO, Ms. Diana Onate. And of course, the Nayong Pilipino performers, Yuki David, Clay Alayay, Riza Flores, Josephine Bragais, and Harold Otero, who all performed in this audio drama. Last but not the least, this launch would not have been possible without the due diligence and keen attention of our planning officer, Cristel Castillo, and the support of our human resources team, our admin, and everyone in Nayon. So thank you to all of you, and please enjoy listening to our audio drama, creating safe and inclusive spaces. Mabuhay!
Thank you, Dr. Laya. And with that, we are officially inviting you to listen to our GAD Creative podcast titled Creating Safe and Inclusive Spaces via Spotify. The link will be posted on our Zoom chat box as well as our Viber GC for easier access.
We sincerely thank everyone who has made this project possible. We hope that as Nayong Pilipino Foundation continuously support GAD campaigns such as this one, we as public workers continue to become a standard bearer and advocate of women empowerment and human rights.
And we also invite you all to join the webinars online hosted by the PCW to know more about the campaign. Later at 1 p.m., we have the Filipino Marespeto Safe Spaces Kasali Tayo, the 2021 18-day campaign to end vow kick-off launch.
On December 3, from catcalling to cyberstalking, as sexual harassment in public and online spaces.
Meanwhile, on December 10, 2021, Aral at Trabaho, Hindi Pang-aabuso, safe spaces in the workplace, educational, and training institutions.
And on December 12, 2021, a culminating activity featuring the highlights of this year's campaign. So all of these will be streamed live via the PCW Facebook page and YouTube page. And there you have it. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and don't forget to stream our newest Dunong episode. It's a special episode while enjoying our break. It's a short but sweet episode, and this has been Red Fabros
and Cristel Castillo. Thank you all po and have a good day.